Um, what are you guys seeing on your screens right now?
The
Just
four of us.
you.
Okay.
Yep.
Somehow when I opened up let me hang on here for a second, get back to Zoom. There we go. Okay, so I'll start the sharing thing, see what happens. Um,
Are you there, Connie?
I did edit that image you sent. And I did do that guy on the street at the book thing if you have time for it. And he was still,
No, absolutely. Are you there, Connie?
I don't see her.
Oh, or it just says joining yet. So
yeah, second I get back into Zoom. Okay, so let's try the share again. Ah, maybe this is it. Hang on. I think I've got it.
Yep, there you are.
Yeah.
okay.
See you on one.
Yep, there we
Um,
are. Okay. Can everybody see the four photographs?
yep.
Okay. And I'm gonna have to just a second. I've got the meetings being recorded. Somehow I've got the us along the side here. It's kind of in the way.
We see
Um,
everything if it helps you.
Pardon?
We're seeing everything.
Oh, good. Okay, I think I just had to put it behind the window.
Okay. Are
I,
you just gonna interject here one sec now?
yeah.
Connie, can you
Hi.
see us, Connie?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great,
Hi,
good.
Connie.
Hello.
Hi.
So, yeah, what the intersect idea is if you can use you can intersect two masks, like combine them in such a way to focus or highlight on a specific area that you might want to edit in some way. And so what I've got here, this is this photograph has the key advantage of showing you what's happening. So that's why I have and with Zoom, I know that sometimes the subtle stuff is missed. So these are some of these are pretty well unedited raw files that I'm using right now, but they're useful to illustrate exactly what we're trying to do. So um, I'm not going to go over all the bells and whistles in ON1. If you're familiar with Lightroom, you won't have a lot of trouble with ON1 and vice versa. Uh, the the There's a lot of copying or parroting of one another. But so essentially, what intersect is I'm going to put a couple of masks on this flower, and we're going to start with I think we'll start with a gradient mask. I'm starting with the simplest ones. Okay, there we go. And can you see the mask and everything? Okay.
Yes.
And just this is what it looks like. So as you know, the on the gradient mask, oh yeah. As I go along, I wouldn't mind some feedback. I've been trying to think of metaphors to use when we're talking about this stuff. The metaphors are tricky because sometimes people read more into them than you're using. But um, one of the things I was thinking of for the mask is how do you think about the black and the white? And of course, people in the editing area have, that cute thing, white reveals and black conceals. And the idea, is in order to make that work, you have to know what it's concealing and revealing. And kind of what it's concealing and revealing is what's actually on the layer below the mask. So the metaphor I had was um, if you put a face mask on someone, you think of someone's face as a layer. the layer you want to edit, and then you put a mask on front of it. And if the mask is solid, that's going to be all black. But then you want maybe the person to be able to see, so you kind of cut out the eyes. I mean, of the mask. And that then becomes the white. Because once you've done that, what the white does is reveal what's underneath the mask. Now, the problem is that metaphor sometimes breaks down with certain conditions, but that's one way I've been trying to think of how to explain the masking notion to people who are really relatively new to the area. Anyway, that's one way I came up with. Does that ring a bell with you guys, or does it sound too obscure? Or
No, it sounds good to
Very,
me.
very good. I wish I knew that when I first started doing Photoshop. Yes.
me
That's
too.
simple. Yes.
Like these guys. So here's one of the masks, and so this is the first gradient, and as you can see, it's going to reveal everything that's below the diagonal. And for example, if I turn it off, and I'm not so much, yeah. What happens now is any adjustment I make will be made to the bottom half. So if I go back here, and here we are. So if I pull up on exposure, it's just going to expose the bottom half. Okay? So I'm going to move this down a bit. Okay, so that's our first, and I'm going to introduce another mask. And to keep life easy for myself mainly, I'm going to introduce a second gradient. Whoop, did that? No, didn't. Hang on. I think I bumped off too soon. Get out of the way there. Okay. Um, where are we? Oh, here we are. Oh, wait a minute. What I should do is do it over here. So again, this is an all-in-one thing. I brought up the masking properties. So I don't know if you can see it's on the left side now, but what we have is the target mask, which is the main one. And then all-in-ones introduce these things called masking layers. And so that's the first gradient. As you can see, it's white at the bottom. Can you guys see my cursor?
Yes.
Okay. And of course, right now it corresponds to the target mask because there's only one gradient. But I'm going to add a second mask layer, add another gradient. There we go. And there we go. And I'm going to flip this one around. There we go. Oh, I see. This was the first one. There we go. And flip this up. So now we have two masks, two gradients. And as you can see, the first one revealed or showed will any adjustments you make will affect what's under the white. And the second one affects the top part like of the picture. And so essentially I just added the two gradients. Now I think in Lightroom and in here as well, I'm going to go up to the second gradient. So the first one's the first one that was added, and then the second one up here, and I'm going to go down to mode. Now this will be similar to what is in Lightroom. And now I'm going to do intersect. And the whole thing's going to go black. In other words, the whole, if I went back to the picture, to the layer, and tried to do any adjustments like saturation or exposure, nothing would happen. Because the only areas that will be affected is if the two gradients overlap somehow. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to start moving this one down so that it intersects with this one here. So here we go. And there you can see it intersecting. And again, so that's the mask. So now if I make any adjustments, that will be the only area that will be affected because this gradient, the one that's on a diagonal here, correspond, has intersected with the horizontal gradient here. And so if I go back to the photo, and this time uh, increase exposure, it's just that area. So my question is, does that get across the idea of what we mean by intersect? Because the intersection is down in this corner where one gradient has intersected with another.
So the way I use it in Lightroom, which I never really called it intersect, even though now I'm thinking about it, it's called intersect in the program. If you wanted to do everything in the background, you could use the whole gradient on the whole thing and intersect the flower in the middle.
Yeah, the statement. Yeah, what personally what I would do for that case, like you're right, there's, as you know, there's always more than 14 ways of doing anything.
Yeah.
And what I would well, let me put it this way, let's say I just wanted to let me show the other examples before but let's, yeah, if I wanted to just like do the flower, like just affect the flower, like the middle part, the stamen and stuff,
Mhm.
I could just pick that as an object or brush it in. I wouldn't need to use intersect.
I was saying the opposite. If you wanted to do the background, all the yellow stuff behind, you could put a
Well,
grid.
I would then select the object and do an invert.
Yeah, yeah, or you could just choose the background, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because as you can see up here, my cursor's now in the upper left-hand corner. Um, in the masking options, they give the subject, which would be this thing here, the background, which would be everything else, no
Yeah,
sky, obviously, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, so six of one, half dozen of another. With that, both ways would work.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let me retire from the field here and do a more worldly. So this one I got from Brian. Brian, when we were signing off last week, or sorry, last month, you mentioned that someone had done a bird with a light going across its back. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I just need feedback. So what I would do in this case, or what we could do is, again, I'm going to use local adjustments here. What's happening here? Oh, it's not fully loaded yet. This one I was out on Tuesday at a conservancy for raptors, and this red-tailed hawk was one of the pictures that I got. So is it loaded yet? No, there it goes. Okay, so what I would do in this case, again, I'm using local adjustments. There we go, and just make sure I've got the right properties thing here. Yeah, let's close window. Okay, so local, that's okay. And I'm going to do a local adjustment on the subject. So I now so this is now selected the subject. And so that's our first mask. That's the first one, right? And then we want kind of a sliver of light maybe going across here. So I'll bring up the properties box again because the nice thing about this one is okay, let me add it first, I'll explain it. So I'm now going to add another, in this case, I'm just going to be another gradient, straight line. There we go. And you can see it there along the left-hand side there. And what I'm going to do is move this up, pull this down, and I mean, I could actually use a line gradient on this, use like one of the Basilisk curves and stuff that they have, but this will get the point across, I think. I hope. Okay. Up this a little bit. Okay. So at this stage of the game, you can see from the gradient there on the left-hand side, um, that, the mask is going to be showing light for everything below the mask on the linear gradient. And for the object mask, it's going to be doing the entire bird. So this is kind of what the mask looks now, okay? Now what I'm going to do, what you have to do then is go into either Lightroom or in this case, my case, ON1, go down to mode and turn it into indicate you want it to be intersect. So it's got to be the layer that you're intersecting has to be above the other layers you want to intersect with. If you try to make the subject the intersect, it's not going to work all that well. So there's that, okay. And then there we go. Whoops. Yeah, there we go. And I think what I'll do is flip it around. So there's your mask. Okay. And I flipped it around because I wanted it was overlapping too much with the bird. I just wanted it to and the overlap has to be above that, like the part that's white. And so now it's overlapping. So if I go back to the photo, I go down to exposure, you can see a light. I don't know. Can you see that on Zoom?
Yes, again, yep.
Okay. You can see the light coming in. I couldn't find a bird that had a straighter back. But I thought this would solve the problem for the time being. Anyway, that's what they did last week, Brian. Like when you were talking about doing that, it's just the intersection of the linear gradient with the object mask.
Oh.
So are we going too fast, or do like?
Nope. I'm finding it. How's anybody else doing?
Good.
Yeah,
I
okay.
have used it and didn't even realize it. That's that I know it's called intersect, but I didn't realize when you said you were doing a thing on intersect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, yeah.
Okay.
But I use it in Lightroom.
Pardon?
I've used it only in Lightroom. It's nice to
Yeah,
see.
it's in Lightroom as well, and operates more or less along the same procedure.
Mhm.
I just did it in here because I'm more familiar with the program, but if people wanted, if they felt they wanted to use this, I could do a full workup on the three Adobe. I don't know about Lightroom CC, but the certainly Classic and Camera Raw if they have it, because I don't know if they do, and Photoshop, which I'm sure has it.
I probably need to learn more about on one because I'm paying for it again. I just resubscribed. I don't know because I don't use it a lot. I used to use it a lot for portraiture, but now that I use a Voto, I don't use it. So
Yeah, no, Evoto's good. I
Voto's
use
good.
anyway. Well, I use Aperty from Luminar,
Okay.
which but it's I use it now because you get in early, you become a founder. Now it's free.
Oh.
Anyway,
And if you have Luminar Neo, does it come with it?
no, it's a separate program. The all-in-one and Neo, Luminar Neo, and to a certain extent, Topaz have differentiated their business model. So they don't have one model for everybody. They have a model for the pro consumer, like people like us, more or less. Then they have models for like people who might need more power because they're professionals, like a wedding photographer doing 3,000 shots at a wedding needs a really fast tool to call.
Mhm.
So they have add-ons to their programs, but they don't include it in the programs for like people like myself who
Okay.
have more like 300 photos.
Yeah.
Okay. So
You know, a Voto, just throwing this out there, and now has an animal section. So you can
really,
go in and brighten the eyes of the animal, or you can remove some of if the hair is all not sharp or something, you can go in and clean that up. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
brand new in Devoto. Yeah,
Okay.
it's cool.
No,
I
that's
haven't watched, but my
yeah.
friend showed me it the other day, and yeah.
No, it's something I should definitely use more for sure by the sound. I mean, that's the way it sounds to me anyway.
Have to get the new
Okay.
one. Yeah.
So with this one here, now the purpose of this one, okay, the purpose of the flower was to show you the basic concept. And then the next one, the one with the bird, was just to show you, again, like an application that you could use it for. But again, to get across the idea of intersection. This one is, I can't remember when I took this one. I think it's a JPEG as well, but it should work. Um, so with this one here, like if you notice here, like you look at the tips of these reeds, okay, and you notice that the white color is also throughout the picture. But let's say, now again, I remember I picked these for illustrative purposes. These aren't things I would actually do. Okay, so, but let's say you wanted to highlight the tips, okay, and you didn't want to do a really, really small, precise masking, uh, um, masking sort of thing, right? So, but you wanted to highlight these, but not highlight the other whites. Okay, so what you could do in this case, personally, I don't know why you'd want to do that, but let's say that's what you want it to do. So in this case, I would probably start with a luminosity mask. Whoop, not that one. Okay, so, okay, we're going to try this again. Okay, oop, I'm in the wrong area. I got to get rid of this. Sorry, keep forgetting to move into local. Okay, here we go. And then add a luminosity mask. There it is. Okay, so this is the luminosity mask. And in that case, if I bring up the properties thing, the trick now is I want to isolate the these things up here. And so to start to do that, I could play with the levels. Now, the idea is to get as much black in there as you can without killing everything else. And so, quite frankly, I'm sure there's rules. I have no idea what they are. And so I kind of play around with it until, okay, I want as much black in there with the whites all by themselves. Okay, so that's the luminosity mask. But as you can see, there's white throughout the entire picture. So I just want these ones to be, like the tips to be isolated. So what you can do in that case is get another, keep getting this green thing popping up. I don't know what it is. In this case, I'm going to go to a masking brush. Okay. And you can see the little circle. Yeah, you can make it bigger or smaller depending. And what I'm going to do is simply start masking. And now it's going to be white because white reveals. So whatever this mask is doing, so I'm just going to do the tips. Again, it's kind of a stupid thing to do, but anyway, it does illustrate the point. And maybe this one, throw this one in for good measure. So anyway, so now we have the two masks. We have the luminosity mask, and then we have this brush mask. And so let me just show you though, if I go back to the picture and then I go down, I'm just going to do an exposure. You can see it exposes the whole thing, right? So we're going to go back now and back to the brush mask. In this case, I'm going to go back to the mode now. Before I just added it, but now I'm going to say intersect. Are you with me? I'm changing the nature of the way it's interacting in the
Yep.
picture here. So I'm going to go to intersect, go back to the mask, and as you can see, it's now just the reeds. And again, if I go down, just start playing. Now, again, you wouldn't want it looking like this, but you know what I'm trying to do here. So can you see it?
Mhm.
Yeah. So that is in situations like I've seen situations like I had a picture of a mountain with white, white tops, and then there's reflection in the water, but I didn't really feel the white in the water was really strong enough. But it wasn't like a solid line. It was just spotty. So this is how I got around, but I couldn't find the picture. This is how I got around um, doing it. So, and be honest with you, in situations like this, sometimes you might want to play with the whites because it allows you to better control the blacks. Now, in this case, the blacks aren't a major interference, but sometimes in some of the shots they are. So instead of using exposure, now the thing is the whites won't get it up as high as exposure will. So it depends what you want. But normally, most of us usually don't do extreme edits anyway. We tend to be fairly modest in the efforts that we do. Anyway, but that illustrates another use for it where you want the lower whites to be unaffected. You just want more, and it could be the lower greens or the lower reds, you know what I mean? Like, it could be anything. And you just want a certain area of that color to be highlighted without highlighting everything else. For example, if you're doing a fall tree, instead of using a luminosity mask, you could use like a color range mask, and sort of, if you wanted the let's say the orange in the leaves to come out more, and maybe not so much the yellows or what was left over in the greens or the reds, you could, put on a color range mask and sort of focus on let's say on the orange leaves. And then if you only want it like the top of the orange leaf, like the trees, the top of the orange leaves at the top of the tree to be highlighted, you could then use a masking brush to intersect with the color range mask and that sort of stuff. And that what it does is it really allows you to get really picky and make really fine selections without killing yourself in terms of time or frustration. Anyway, yep, does that one make sense to people in terms of what I was doing?
Yep.
Okay. This is a shot of mine from Iceland. Now, stop doing this. There we go. There we go. So now on this one, I thought, let's say I wanted the snow on these caps to be more prominent. And again, you could really enlarge the photo and go into, just using the masking brush or whatever. But another way of doing it, and part of the problem here is the sky, which has very close tones and color to the peaks here. By the way, the Iceland ice cap. This is at the eastern end. We did the Circle Road when we were in Iceland, and we are up here on this road. It goes over there and then comes back and down to the water there. But the the this is sort of we've gone to the very eastern tip of the island, and now we're turning and coming down the southern leg of the Circle Road, but still very far east. This is one of the areas that hardly anyone goes to. There's one car there. Again, this is an unedited photo, and I was in a moving car at the time because my daughter and granddaughter were really keen on getting to the Puffin Reserve. So uh, she wasn't willing to stop the car. So, but nonetheless, it came out sort of okay. And then what the thing is here is, let's say we want to do this. So it'd be roughly the same kind of thing, I think. You'd start off probably with a luminosity mask. There we go. Did that add? Yes, it did. Okay. So, and I'll bring up the properties here. There we go. So again, I'm going to put it over here out of the way. So with the luminosity mask, again, in this case, we want to highlight the whites. Now, to be honest with you, it'd probably be a good idea to mask out the sky. But what, in this case, we're going to do the same thing, really pull up on the blacks because we really want to focus on the whites. Make sure they're there to focus on. Um, there we go. Nope, that's gonna make it too hard. There we go. And then I was hoping to be more cooperative than this. But anyway, um, it's working, I guess. No, don't like that at all. Okay, so try to keep, okay. So that would be the luminosity mask. And in this case, I would actually go with another brush. I guess, where is it over here? I would go with a masking brush. So as you can see, like every time I add a mask, it adds another layer. So I've got the luminosity mask here. Okay. And again, you can see it's exactly the same as the target mask because we only got the one adjustment. So I'm going to pull in a brushing mask. I'm going to add it. And as you can see, it's up here now. And I'm going to make it a bit smaller. Oop, wrong bracket. And essentially, brush along the whites here. Now again, we got, some cloud coming over the mountain, so it's not going to be quite as smooth as I would like, but I'll get across the idea. Okay. Now again, I've just added the mask. I haven't told the computer that it's an intersect mask. It's just another brushing mask. So when you go back to the picture and then you go down, and do an adjustment, let me get this out of the way, and get those out of the way. You go to do an exposure, it's going to, it's it's going to affect all the white. You can see the roads getting wider, the water and all that stuff. Okay. And if you go the other way, you're out of luck. However, if you go back and now go back to the brushing mask, go down and tell the computer you're not just adding a masking brush, you want it to intersect with the luminosity mask, which is below it. So this time, so the mask now looks like this. And so in this case, if you go to exposure, now again, oop, yeah, this one, it's going to be tricky. I'm going to go back down to the whites. There we go. You can make it a bit wider. As you can see, there's some residue down here. So if you went to erase up at the top here, you could erase that part the part that I don't like. Maybe you would like it. I don't know. I didn't like it. Anyway, and then quite frankly, if the mask had, you know, get out of my way. Okay. Not sure why it won't get out of the way there. Anyway, so then you can, there you go. So you can, let's say you need it to expand the mask a bit. Like maybe you missed this part, which I didn't, but maybe you did. And, brush it over a bit more. So anything there's a little bit up here that it's above the misc. I don't know if I want to get into that, but so that will add, you're painting the mask and that'll add to it. So that's another use of it. And where's the O key? There we are. Oops. And by the way, the Brian, I don't know if there's a corresponding thing, but this is, if I push the J key on the thing, it tells me if things are overblown.
Mhm.
In this case, the whites. I mean, I can use the histogram. That's absolutely true. But um, yeah, the whites don't. Yeah, they're just too blown out for that particular shot. So I'd actually try to mask the sky out completely. But at any rate, that is. Um, you can see it's just a slight adjustment there
Mhm.
as I go back and forth between. Yeah. Anyway, so that's what the intersect idea is. That to me, it's something in particular if you have to dodge and burn stuff is particularly useful if you combine it with one of the range masks, like luminosity or color. And it's under those could. I mean, you can use it for lots of other things. If you want, let's say, the sunshine to come down on one side of a cup on a table, then you can, intersect, like do an object mask on the cup, do an intersect with a linear gradient, and then just change the exposure on that side of the cup, and it can look like maybe sunlight coming in from a window. So, I mean, there's lots of things that you can do, and Caleb may have used it for some other purposes altogether. So that would be interesting to hear about as well. But anyway, that's what an intersect is, and those are a couple of uses. I don't know, how'd that go?
Great. Thank you very much there, Alan. Yeah.
Very good.
It, every time we can glean one little piece of information like this, and then what it really does is open a whole rabbit hole for we just jump right in and keep working.
It encourages me to go back into on one and try different things in on one, which I've never done. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting really powerful, Kayla. I'm using Adobe less and less,
Mm,
and I'm hoping at some point in time to stop the subscription. That's just a personal preference.
yeah.
That's
Okay,
great. Thanks again.
not sure. Oh, here, stop share. Okay,
Hey,
gotcha.
before we go on, Connie, just to kind of touch base here. Alan just finished giving us a thing on intersect, and now we're gonna have Kayla move in. She's gonna kind of talk on dodging and burning and what she's done with some pictures. Before we move that, because we're still in the Lightroom, I'm going to share my screen quickly. And your entire screen. It's just something I'd thought about before that I meant to. I'm just going to grab anything. Okay, I'm just going to use this as an example here. When we go into masking here, and in this case here, I'm just going to pick the radial gradient. Now, what I'm showing here on the right-hand side where it says exposure, that part there will just deal with the exposure of the masking part. If we want to do the whole picture, we come down here farther. You see, there's exposure there. So this becomes really the global one, and the one up here is just strictly your local one dealing with whatever we've got on the mask.
Yeah, that's interesting, Brian. In ON1, that's the difference between using what we call the develop tab, which is global, and the local tab, which I was using, which would be
Mhm.
for, yeah, yeah.
Cool. appropriate.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Now I'm gonna stop sharing here and it'll be fun again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you did it.
Yeah, we're back, Brian.
Back?
I, we see
What do
you.
you
Yeah,
think?
We're back. Yeah, yeah.
you closed it and you're back.
Okay. So here.
Do you see us?
No, I don't see anything. I see my ducks.
I can see you.
Okay, there we go here.
You
See,
never
I
have
see
too
me
much fun with
there,
this.
but now I'm trying to figure out how to. There we go. We're back. Hey. Okay, Kayla doesn't need any introduction here. She's when I say she's professional, I honestly mean that because she's just what a bunch of new allocates here just a while ago. She's going to
Mhm.
go off to India Tigers.
Mhm.
And are you going to South America or South Africa after that?
Went to Africa in June. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Went to Ethiopia. If it's not too much political unrest. I was supposed to go before COVID, and then the political stuff happened and we couldn't go. Then COVID hit, so we couldn't go from that. It's double whammy. I'm going to the Oma tribes in and then I'm going to Botswana again, and I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going in the hides in Botswana, where you are in these buildings that are on the ponds, and you photograph from the buildings of the animals coming to you. I've always wanted to do it, so that's on my other end of my bucket list.
Mm.
Sorry,
Well,
Ed? At the water level? Yes, so these hides that they build, particularly in Botswana, are right on the ponds. So you're inside and they've got special windows that you photograph from. And you sit there basically and wait for them to come to you. We also go out on safaris and part of the day,
Yeah.
but spend the early mornings inside our cabin or whatever you want to call it, hides, where we live and eat and everything. Yeah. I'll report back when I get back.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
do.
Yeah. India, it wasn't on my bucket list. I'm going with a colleague from PPOC. He's from India. He's an Indian fellow who lives in Canada, and he put together a tour for us because he's been a few times. So there are 6 of us going on this. I'm going to India on a safari for tigers and rhinos.
Is that the chap you had last year?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he spoke at the camera club again. He just did a presentation on it yesterday.
Yeah.
So he's getting more into doing tour guiding. If you ever want to go to any exotic places, I'll let you know how it is, but he's amazing. Yeah.
He did a presentation to the Manitoba Camera Club the other night on the Bengal tiger. It
Mhm.
was just absolutely superb.
Yeah.
Like Connie.
Really
Hi.
enjoyable.
I couldn't
Hi,
get my
Connie.
camera working at
Yeah.
first.
Oh, it's
You
all
got it
good.
working now.
It's all
Just
good.
It's
just in
working
time to
now.
see.
We see
Chrome
you.
was
Time
using
for.
it.
You're just in time to see Kayla. Um, Initially, there was one of the ladies that from the Brandon Club that I'd asked to do a presentation, and she's come down with some cancer issues. So,
Oh no.
and Kayla astounded me with a photo she had here just a while ago that she won some awards with it. I said it looked like a maitre d'. She said, "No, it's a fellow signing books." I just didn't look close enough, but I love the way the lights go on. And she's, well, that's kind of a lot of dodging and burning, and I said, well, how would you like to do a presentation for us? So it's all yours, Kayla.
Okay. I want to show you something first, though, that I just discovered through Mark. Mark is my friend who I travel with. But let me just make sure I'm going to put the image, the original image, into my
So
desk.
is this Mark the same Mark that has the photo studio? That
It's the Mark that he did something for Manitoba Camera Club. He's traveled with me. He's coming to Africa with me. He's kind of my photo buddy. And I'm just going to put this on the desktop because I want to show you something he showed me. All right, so I'm going to go back to Zoom and I'm going to share. So here we are. I want to go to my desktop, I think. Where do I want to go? Okay, I'll go to Photoshop. All right. So can you see the guy?
Mhm.
This is the original guy. This was taken in Mexico. Usually I go up and I ask people if I can take their photo, but in this case I didn't. And he must have seen me take the picture because he's looking right at me. Okay. But before I do that, I want to just show you something that I discovered the other day. I'm all of a sudden into this Gemini. Gemini is Chat GPT, but can you see my other screen now? Did it open up choose files to upload? Can you see that?
That's the same one.
You only see the Photoshop? Is that all you see?
Yeah,
Yes.
the guy who's looking at
Yeah, I
you.
got to go back then. I got to unshare and I got to show you this. I'll come back to the guy, but I want to stop share and then I want to share the other screen. I'll share and I want to share this. Okay, now do you see choose file to upload?
Yes.
Okay, so now I'm going to grab that guy. Where is he? He's here in my desktop. So it's the same photo. Do I see it? Do I see it? Let me just look on my computer instead of there. Where is he? He is. Actually, it doesn't really have to be him. Where did I just put him? Desktop. Give me 1 sec. I thought I loaded it to here. I've got to load him again. And I'm going to export him again. Bear with me. Export as JPEG. You can't see me doing this part, right? Because I've gone to a different screen. Export. Okay, so he is there. Okay, now I'm back on this. There it is. Okay, so you can see me uploading, right?
Mhm.
Screen sharing has stopped as a shared window is closed. What the heck? Okay, now do you see Gemini?
Where should we start?
Okay, watch this. Watch this. Okay, critique this photo for us competition. I'm going to put for PPOC, because it knows what PPOC is. You can put for the Manitoba Camera Club. Critique this photo. Okay, watch. And I just thought this was, if you ever want to see what it says about your photos, it's going to give me a whole critique. Tells me about the impact of the subject, composition. I don't have to read it all, but throw one of your pictures into Gemini, Google Gemini, which is like ChatGPT, but it's owned by Google. Tells me about the composition, the technical excellence, blah, 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 and what I can do, competition, refine the crop, manage the highlights, which I'm going to show you, address the textures, clean the books. See? Isn't that cool?
It
Yes.
is.
Mhm.
Like, it's scary cool. Now I'll show you what I did with it anyway, because Brian asked me to edit, to show you what I did in the editing. So I entered it in the Manitoba Camera Club, and I actually re-edited it because I'm entering it in PPOC's salon, they call it, their competition. It's the national competition. So I edited it again. So now I'm going to open Photoshop and share Photoshop. This was the original, and I liked it in color. But we in Camera Club, we always have to do 2 black and white and 2 color. So I needed a black and white image. And I thought it would be good for black and white because there's so much texture in it and so much different shadows and shades and all of that. So, oops. So that was out of the camera, no editing. There's lots of little things in it that kind of bugged me, right? Particularly the highlights. Oh, that isn't actually the original one. The original had little more stuff in it, which I don't have here. The original had more people here. Okay, but I started to remove them. So now I'm going to go into here and I'm going to show you what I did. I can either do it or show you, go through this and just show you. This is probably easier. Oh, there, now you're going to see the original. Okay, so there's the original.
All right.
And then I made a background copy. And then I went and used the remove tool. Oops, go away. To clean it up. Here, remove tool. And then I It's not showing the camera raw stuff that I did. No, it's not. So, but I ended up with this as my final. And then so
No.
you have to have a particular background. So I can go through the steps if you guys want me to.
I'd like that. How about you guys?
I would like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most of it was
Hey,
remove
Kayla,
tool.
can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Once you did the edits and everything, did you resubmit it to Gemini?
No, I should. The black and white. Let's do it
Just
at
to
the end.
see what it says.
Let's do it at the end. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of all of these and start over. Actually, I can just do it this way. Just going to go back to, not there, back to here. And I'm going to just start over. That's it. So it might be different this time because I'm just doing it from top of my head. So first of all, you guys have used the remove tool, right?
Yes.
It's a game changer, right?
Yeah.
We know that. So I'm going to go first of all here and I'm going to just go find distractions. Do you know about this?
Yes.
So it's going to find the people that I should get rid of right away for me, and I'll just remove them. And you know about this tool up here, remove after each stroke? You know about that?
No. What was that? You would find distractions, you hit that.
I hit that, and then I'm going to push enter or return.
Yep.
Should get rid of them there. Now it's getting rid of
But
them.
you don't have to use the check mark.
You can do that. If you want to use the checkbox, that is to remove after each stroke. So if I make this bit bigger and I just want to do this little thing here, if I
Oh
have
no, I was thinking there's another check mark just to the right of your cursor is no.
this way,
Right.
Yep.
That
Keep going.
go right. Keep coming. Keep coming.
Keep
yes.
going. There.
No, no, you can do that, or you can just hit return.
Okay, that's what I was checking. Yep.
But I like this thing here because you can do a whole bunch instead of just one and wait for it, right? So you can do a whole bunch at one time. If you say remove after each stroke, if you check this,
Mhm.
do each one. But if you uncheck it, you can do like 5. So I can do that, I can do that, I can do
Mhm.
that. Do you know about that?
Nope, I'm learning.
I can move this. I want to move all this junk here. I want to move this. I probably will move this. So it's kind of doing a whole bunch at once. It's incredible, this. I just love it. So now when I hit return or enter, I think it's enter, it's return, sorry. It will come up and it'll remove all of those at the same time. I didn't know about that. I can't remember how I learned that. One of these, that's what I say on Instagram, they always have these little quick tutorial things if you follow Instagram. I mean, I didn't do a ton on this. That's why when you asked me about it, I thought, okay, I'll show you. I didn't like the things here on his face. There's some weird things here. So here I might just use this and just circle it. And then right click and then just go generative fill and just let it do its thing and see what it does for me. I don't even have to say remove. It usually knows intuitively what you want. And if it doesn't work, let's let it give it time. So that's pretty good. So I have 3 choices. You guys all know
Oh.
about stuff, right? That's choice
Mhm.
1, choice 2, and choice 3. So that one I don't like. So you can actually go in here and delete it because it takes up more space. This one's pretty good. And this one's pretty good. Which do we like better? This one or this one?
That one.
That one? Okay, then I can just delete this one, right? And then I can go
Mhm.
over here. Now I use TK9. Who uses TK9? Anybody?
No.
TK9 was something that Jerry taught me. So this is Photoshop for Dummies. This is how I learned Photoshop. So these are all your Photoshop tools that are up here, right? Up in the file, but they're right here, like Camera Raw, there it is. So if I want to do stamp invisible, instead of having to know all those keys, I just push Alt, is it Option or Alt? And it tells me what it is. tells me what each of these things are. I push that. So each of these is a different thing in Photoshop. For all you Photoshop gurus, I was not a Photoshop guru, but now if I make a stamp object layer, that will stamp it. So it'll save that as of all of these as a new layer. So basically now I can go into this layer and do stuff I couldn't do. So this is instead of flattening it. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I can do more things to this image. So now what else don't I like? So we're going to look at the highlights now, because what's happening, it said actually when I did the Gemini thing that there was a lot of overblown highlights. All of this, like where is your eye going in the story of this guy? You want your eye to go right to his face. Right now it's going everywhere but his face. So I'm going to use Camera Raw, and I'm going to use a bunch of things in here. For example, I got to move us there. I'm going to use, can you see the side here where the masking is?
Yep.
So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to use radial gradient. I love radial gradients. They're my favorites. So I can go here, right? And I can just do the whatever I want to do to bring those highlights down in little areas. I can right click it and I can, no, that's not what I want. I want to make another copy, but I thought I could do it there. I guess I can't. So I'll just go and I'll make another one here and add another radial. These I just use a lot here. This is where I think you can use intersect as well. So let's say on this mask, I want to intersect the mask with that person in the middle, subject. I can now bring down the highlights, and it won't bring the highlights down on that person. That's how I use intersect. Make sense?
Yep.
Make another one. I'm going to do it all the way up here. Oops, I didn't make one. So you can use brush as well. Today I'm using radial. What's going on? Radial. New mask. There. For some reason, I didn't want to do it. There. Again, I can do the whole thing, and I can intersect that guy, do the whole thing there. And let's say it's these little dots here. Intersect mask with people or subject. And then I'm just doing exposure, highlights. Why is it not doing anything? Let's go back to here.
I think it was expecting to intersect with the guy.
Yeah, I think so. Or it is
And-
actually doing the
And
guy.
it didn't. It's just the person behind.
Yeah, but anyway, you're understanding sort of what I'm getting at here. I
Yeah.
can a linear as well, and just do what you had, a linear gradient there. And I can intersect him, right? Should be able to.
If you have a masked
So
Yeah.
if I
If
go
you-
intersect mask with
subject out, yeah.
now it's doing him though. This is what I sometimes get mixed up. So now it's doing him as opposed to, you know what I mean? It's got a flip inverted or something. Where I haven't quite figured that. Invert the mask, maybe. That'll do the whole thing except him. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. I don't know what I'm doing there. So I won't use that mask. So anyway, okay.
Yeah, it might have worked if you'd selected the subject first,
Yes.
then did the
Okay.
mask. Yeah,
Let's try it.
the radial. Yeah.
Try it. So again, you can go up here and you can go filter Camera Raw, right? Or you can use this program here, which I love. It's a plugin. You pay for it once, and it's just, especially if you're not a Photoshop user, it has all of these cool things in it. And there's different things that you can do within TK within this TK9 program. Okay, let's go back and just try that one more time though, because I need to perfect that. So thank you, Alan, if you can help me through that. So now instead, we're going to make a mask. We'll do a linear.
Well, you want to intersect exactly what you want to accomplish. You want to,
We want to get the
um,
background without getting the guy there and the guy there.
oh, okay. Um, hmm. So you want everything about everything except the guy virtually.
Well, basically, unless we do a radial, let's just try this again. If you do a radial here, you see
Well,
it's adding a,
can't you just select the guy and do an inverse?
I
Invert?
don't want the whole thing, I just want the stuff back here.
Oh,
Right.
just those. Okay.
So then
So, yeah.
intersect mask. It's going to intersect it with subject, isn't it? Or is it a subtract? See if you
Are
do
you just
subtract.
gonna end up getting it with the fellow where the blue dot is, that fellow, rather than
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't done it as an intersect. I've just done a smaller map, whole bunch of these little ones. I've just done a whole bunch. When I did it, I just did a whole bunch of these. But now I've sort of want to know how to do it with intersect. So I haven't
what would
perfected.
happen, what would happen if you were to create a new mask, uh, pick subject, which in this case is probably number 2, which is the small person,
Okay.
and erase them, get rid of them?
Yeah, I kept him in there. It was just a choice.
Hmm.
We could get rid of him. Then I wouldn't use this. I would just use, I would probably just get out of here. Let me get out of here. Okay. I would probably just get rid of him with this.
Mhm.
And I would just say remove. It's slow. Relies on the internet. The internet here is sometimes finicky. It's probably there. I mean, it does clean it up nicely. And now I can just actually go in here and I can do in here, there's so many ways to do stuff. I can take the brush, I can bring the highlights down, bring the exposure down, and I can just take a nice soft brush and just brush in here and just do that this way as well. So that kind of brings all of that down. Anything that basically I'm just burning, right? That you want to darken. So I would spend time working on that. I also really want to make a smaller brush and do his face, but this is too dark. So I would probably here, let's just bring it up. In Photoshop, sometimes it's better just to use the brush right directly in Photoshop. But this is doing the job, and his nose is too bright. Wherever there's blown highlights. And I can probably bring it down a bit more. That's getting better, right?
Mhm.
Here. And here. I mean, I did all of this and I took my time doing all of this. That's too dark over there. So I probably would use another brush to just do that. I get rid of these, blah, 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 right? I don't have to take your time, but I would clean up all of anything that is not adding to the story of this guy, anything that's pulling my focus. And I probably did it like 10 times until I was happy with it. This is where I'm going to just remove a bunch again. Who uses the software Nick?
Occasionally.
Nick, yep,
Yeah,
occasionally.
I love the black and white in Nick. So I just cleaned up whatever those that were there. I thought I removed this, but I think I will still remove that. So again, you can use the remove tool or you can use this and just either right click and say generative fill and it knows to remove it or fix it. Or I can use the remove tool. When you use generative fill, you are using credits. So you have to be careful how many you use. I think they give you 200 a month. And if you use more than them, they want to charge you. But then they end up coming back every month. Do you know about that?
Yeah, how much extra time does it take if you do it using the computer?
You mean using, I don't know, because I've got it on, yeah, you're talking about this thing here where you can select which to use.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it takes a lot longer or if it's just more intuitive when you use the cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah, I
sure.
haven't compared them either. I just was wondering, but I was thinking for small edits, you could save credits.
And speaking of that, do you know about this stuff in here? Do you guys know about this?
Nope.
Oh, yeah,
So this is all very new. So we use Firefly mostly in Photoshop. That's the main one. But let's say I want to do something more like these here, give you only one example, and they're far more powerful. Gemini 3, for example. I'm going to show you something that I did afterwards that's really cool. But Gemini 3. So if I wanted to redo his face, I wouldn't ever do this. I'm just showing you this. And then I go to, is it here? No, I want to go generative fill. And then I go in here and I use one of these. It's far more change to a woman. Now, I wouldn't do this on my photos, but this is just showing you again how you can use different AI stuff for different things. I would just go in here and play with Nano Banana because it's more built for portraits and more specific stuff. See what it does. You never know what it's going to do, though. That's terrible. Uh, uh, But I'm just showing you that because there's different, now there's all this stuff where you can read up on it. So you go in generative fill and then you go in here. And these are the ones we usually get, Firefly, which gives you three. I mean, this Firefly is great for expanding an image, but these here are all very more advanced. I'm going to show you how Nano Banana was used in Gemini afterwards. Okay, so cancel. I also would look at his eyes and use, let's say if that's done. So now this is where, again, if I try to go in here and do a mask, oh yeah, it does create a mask. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to choose his face, his person, and I'm going to do his eyes, his eyebrows, and his clothes. And have you done this before with people?
no.
Okay, so I'll go a little slower. So now I've picked specific things on him. This is much like what Evoto does. I can do his facial skin and I make separate masks for each one. All right, and then I can go in here and you see his clothes down at the bottom are very blocked. The bottom there particular, I want to add some detail back in there. See, that's where it was very black, but I want detail. So I'm going to add contrast. Maybe I add a little bit of texture just to bring it back, bring it to life. Dehaze. I love dehaze. And maybe I bring down the highlights as well up on the top there. Just a bit. Okay. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Look at his eyes. I want his eyes to pop. I'm going to add a bit of white. There we go. And then his eyebrows. Get those eyebrows blacked up a bit. There. A little more drama.
Yeah.
And his facial skin. I can bring the highlights down where it's blown out. See? Boom, boom, boom. Isn't that cool?
That's
Mhm.
wow.
And okay. So that's kind of everything I did. I might go through and clean up a little bit more here, but I'm not gonna waste your time on that. My final thing that I wanted to do with this is I want to make it in black and white. So I'm gonna flatten it. Because if I try to do let me just see, if I try to do a filter now, oh, it's there, it's working because I've already made a stamp layer. So I'm gonna go into Nick. I love Nick Silver Effects. That's
When you
the
said
name.
flatten, why are you flattening it?
I would flatten it at the very end because this is all takes up a lot of space, a lot of
Okay.
gigabytes, right? So now the plugin, I'm going to use this because it's brilliant. I love this one. You can go in here and you can look at a whole bunch of different ones like there.
It's not coming up on the screen,
Oh dear. Probably
at
because,
least on my screen.
Mine either.
no? Okay,
No.
No.
let me cancel it and let me stop share. Sometimes whenever you add a new thing, try again. So now I'm going filter. Do you see that?
You're looking for a palette along the left-hand side.
Yeah, now I'm looking for
No.
Silver Effects Pro. Tell me if it comes up.
Yeah, no, nothing yet.
Okay, so that means I have to go back and unshare again. You got to see the last step of this. So stop share. And if I share my desktop, let me try this instead of doing Photoshop. Now, do you see Photoshop?
We have Photoshop beta, yeah?
Okay, now tell me if I go to this, if you see Nick.
Yep.
Wait till I open it. Now, do you see Nick?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I went to my desktop instead of to Photoshop. That's how this worked. So now in here, if you haven't used this, it gives you all these different filters. I can expand this. And you can play around in here. I usually like the first one, the normal one. So I'm going to go back to the first one, which is neutral. It looked like it didn't change it, but it will. And then you can go in here and you can play around in here and still adjust. But now I'm in black and white. So I'm going to say I like that one and I'm going to apply it. Creates a new layer. There's my black and white image. The last thing I'm going to show you, which may or may not show, is I'm going to go to image. Let's just say that the image size here was only 15 by 19. The resolution is good. If you're competing, you want to have the resolution at 300, not lower. But let's say you're competing for the camera club, they tell you it has to be 1600, no bigger than 1600. So I would have to change this to 1600, right? So now it's a small little image, good for social media and good for competition, but it's not big enough to print or not big enough to do much with, right? So I would go into, normally I would have gone into on one resize, or I would have gone into gigapixel, you know about those? But you have it now in Photoshop. You go here, you go generative upscale. Have you used this?
Yeah, not here, but something like it in
You can
Topaz.
upscale it in here, and then it would be this size instead. And it would be a three.
That's the same as the gigapixel that was in Topaz, isn't it?
Yes, same, but this is so much quicker. And I would
Yeah.
upscale it. I'm not going to upscale it for you guys. You know how to do that. But if you do want to ever have it bigger for other purposes, it does a brilliant job. Sometimes I would make it into a smart layer first and then do it. So you were asking about flattening. So you can save this as a PSD or as a TIFF, and you would still have all these layers
Mhm.
if you know you want to come back to it. But if you don't, you would just flatten it. And here again, instead of going up into there, I can just do it here and I flatten it and it flattens all my layers. And then I can export it like this as I go to File, Export As, and I would export it as a JPEG, full quality, and export to wherever, right? So I'm going to export it as a black and white to my desktop, and we're going to put it in Gemini again. I love that decision or that suggestion. Okay, so I'm going to have to tell me though, maybe it'll just come back up. Does my internet come back up?
Yep.
Gemini?
Not. Oh, wait a minute. This looks like it's gone back to the recommendations.
Okay,
Of
yes,
the
but
original.
you can see Safari. Okay, and now I'm gonna say, I'm gonna add this photo, upload. And that's the black and white version. And I'm gonna say critique this photo for PPOC competition for street photography. I'm gonna be a little more specific. Photography, I can't spell. Too fast. Okay, and here we go, and it's gonna critique it. Switching to black and white is a smart move for street photography. It strips away all the distractions of color and highlights, blah, blah, blah. Entering for PPOCC, it knows it's the Professional Photographers of Canada, which blew me away. The positive, the conversion has created a classic timeless feel. Let's just go down. The hot spot on the man's forehead is even more pronounced in grayscale. So I probably have to fix that. Let's go down. I don't want to waste too much time. I can send you this if you want, but you can put your own image in, right? So it's telling me to still use a little bit of dodge and burn in Photoshop, which I could have done the dodging and burning that way. It doesn't say Photoshop. Texture, you have the original raw file. Try a more honest black and white conversion that preserves the skin texture. Okay. And I did a fast edit. So I, clone out or crop the very bottom silver of the book. Anyway, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just,
That,
one thing that I put in there as well, which used that nano banana, and then I'll come back and answer any questions. So I'm going to go into my notes. Okay, you'll think this is really stupid, but I want to learn how to put makeup on. It doesn't apply to any of you guys, but maybe for Connie.
It works.
So you can go on and you can pay money for all of these things, right? I went into this Gemini program and I created with my face, and I put in a palette that I bought at the makeup store, and look how good it is because it uses Nano Banana. It took my image. It's scary good, and it told me how to put makeup on for my face. This is all in Nano Banana. The other thing I did in here is I wanted to learn about I want to take daily supplement routine, right? This CoQ10, do you know about that?
Yep.
I wanted to know how to use it. Somebody told me that I should use it because I have nerve pain since my back surgery. And I went into Gemini again. Gemini I like so much better. So I downloaded the app, and you can also do it in Safari or Google or Chrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
that Gemini program you're using there to kind of do a critique,
Yeah.
is there a charge or an
No, it's like using Google right now anyway. They
yeah,
may end up having an advanced one. Like when you use ChatGPT now, I don't know if you guys have been playing around in ChatGPT to make your caricatures or to play with pictures. After you've done so many, it stops you, and it basically says you have to come back in 24 hours. Here, I'll face you guys instead of my screen. It says you have to come back or you have to buy the Pro. That's what's happened with ChatGPT. So with
Okay.
Gemini, this right now it's still free, but I haven't used it to that extent where I've had to pay. Mark, my
Okay.
friend, I know has a paid version of it, which you get more, you get better information from it. So,
Okay. Well, the next thing, thank you very much. I think we all thoroughly enjoyed that, and
really
I'll
interesting.
definitely going back over once we get the video out and reviewing it again.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, one thing
Connie,
I've really learned in the judging course that I took from PPOC was what the judges look for and what you need to get rid of if it's not telling a story. And thankfully we have that remove tool now, which makes it so easy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the next thing we're going to do is Connie, your picture. So I think Kayla said she'd done some editing on it. Anybody else done some editing on it? Alan?
Yeah, Brian, I haven't been getting it. I don't think you have my email.
Okay, I'll check.
Where was the picture taken, Connie?
Silver Springs. Oh,
Nice.
Brazil. I was just goofing around one evening and had a great time.
Yeah. I tried a newer thing in Photoshop on your image too.
Okay,
Just
Caleb, maybe you want to share your screen and just bring that picture up?
sure. Do you want the finished, the one I did?
No, just bring up the basic first of all, and then we'll take a look at it, okay?
I have the basic. Okay, just a minute. Don't, I'm not sharing yet, so let me find it and get rid of what I did.
Well, Alan, were you getting the notices of meetings and that I've been sending out?
No, but I'm good at tracking stuff. And I had Kayla's original email.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'll correct that.
Okay.
Oh, I don't have the original in here. I just have what I did to it.
Did you do it in Lightroom?
I did it in Photoshop, and I don't know why I don't. Just a minute. I might have another way to get. No, I don't know. I pulled it into Photoshop right away with some changes. I can pull it up from my desktop though. Let me just. You want to see the original, right?
Yeah, just so we can have a look at it and
I don't know why it doesn't have. Sorry, I'm just back in my Photoshop again, trying to see why I don't have the original. This is where I need to. Oh, wait. There, I got it. I got it in a different screen. Um, okay. I'm going to share. One sec. Share. I'm going to share on my Photoshop, not desktop. Can you see it?
yep.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the original. And tell me
Okay, then so then I guess we take a look at the original as a picture and say what would we like to do with that? What is the focus on the picture? Is it on the street light? Is it on the clouds? Is it on the trees or whatever? Um, so why would we want to change it? So if I can have some comments on that?
is it a street light? I didn't even know it was a street light. I thought it was the sun or something peeking through, but
Well, certainly a sun star,
the sun star. It's not on a pole.
but
Like
it
not a
could be a
sun star, but it's an
it could be a
actual
light.
lamp or light
Yeah,
a
a lamp.
lantern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And there's another one in behind it which is distracting.
yeah.
I
I
think
got
the
rid
sun
of
star
that.
on its own is,
So were you shooting this like at F-16 or F-22 or something?
oh my gosh, I can't remember. Probably F-16.
Okay.
So I redid this one or played with it.
Okay, let's see what you did, Kayla.
And I did. Okay, let me just do.
Oh,
Okay, so wait a minute. Uh, yeah. I had the layers here and now they're gone. I don't know what happened. It's what sometimes frustrates me about. I went to that, but it doesn't have all the layers here. And why did it switch over to this one? I don't know. Anyway, um, yeah, 5 seconds ago I had all the layers and now I don't have all the layers to show you. So this is my end result anyway. Let me make it bigger. I brightened up the grass. Is this my final? Let me go back for a second here. Does it look the same? No, I know what I did. I went into, that's why Photoshop I went into here to the filters and I played around in the neural filters. Have you played around in there?
no.
And I wish I could show you the steps because I had them here a minute ago. And when I went back, it squashed them. I don't know. Ed, do you
What
know
about
why?
in your history?
It's like I don't have enough steps in this program or something, maybe. And I changed that. Anyway, I went in to here. And that was my finished one. I wanted to crop it and focus more on the star. but I went into this program here, which I'll just show you what I did in here. It may not look the same now. It's called Neuro Filters. It's a new thing in Photoshop. And I went into landscape, and then I went into this one, move view, and I took the strength down of it. This is getting more to what I had. And for some reason it disappeared because I wanted to bring out the walking in the grass. And look what it did. It made it kind of artified. And you can play around in here and get different effects. It's really cool. It's like putting different
Ooh,
filters on top.
I like that.
So, and the strength of it, if you don't want to have the full amount, you still want to keep the integrity of your photo. I like the original one because I like what it did to the grass. But then, anyway, that was my final result. I didn't save it to my desktop. I should have. I'm just going back to this one again. Play around in here. These are all part of Photoshop. And this would have been my final, something like this. I also went in and I went into Topaz and I denoised the bottom a little bit. And I removed that other spot you were talking about, Connie.
Yes.
And the reason I cropped it was because this is where the story is. And all that stuff that was over here and over here wasn't necessary. Now the sort of the light goes directly, or the shadow goes directly to that star. Yeah. Play around in
So,
here. Look, it's got
so
this photo restoration as well that is really cool. And it just does it for you. So neat. And it has a whole bunch of makeup things and smart portrait.
So Kayla, going back to the photo here,
Yeah.
so when on any image, um, you want to kind of tell the story,
Yeah.
and so the story here is, like you said, is the image, the light,
Yeah.
and the grass and the trees are sort of the sub characters. Is that what you're saying here?
Well, they're leading your eye to, for me, what the story was that Connie had here was that light that she saw, whether it
Hmm.
was on a pole or a lamp or the sun. Or, no, now the more I look at it, I know it's not a starburst from the sun looking through. So what leads your eye in to whatever it is? If that wasn't there, let's assume that it was not there. What would be the story of the photo? I don't know.
Well, I look at it that what you've done with the light on the grass is what brings my eye towards the starburst.
Yeah, exactly. Because what it was before, we go back to the original, it was too blocked out. All of this was all blocked out. And I did like this, but I didn't think there was enough of a story there to lead me into it. So I got rid of
Well,
it.
especially with the clouds, because there's such a
Yeah.
contrast in the clouds.
Yeah. And I also did some work up into the sky as well. I went in before. I wish I could have showed you the stage. I have no idea why I lost all of that, but anyway. Sometimes my Photoshop skills are not that great, but I went in and I built up the contrast in here and the light and the dark to give it more depth and texture. Yeah, we should put
Well, we
this image or the original image into Gemini and see what it says.
we all know, if you belong to the Manitoba Camera Club, that Kayla has a good eye.
Yes.
Oh,
Absolutely.
well, you know what? I used to say that about my friend Alex Morrison, for those of you that know her. She would find something and like pick a part of it and just it would like be like, wow, I didn't see that. So I guess it's been developing it as the more I've critiqued other people's, like that's why I really say everybody should do this judging course because you
Well, I
learn.
just thought it was interesting on the pictures of the fellow signing the book, the things that you were taking out, there were distractions
Yeah,
that my eye passed them,
right.
and that's just experience.
I guess so. And I never used to do that at the beginning either. The more I do it, the more I hear judges critique my work. And I go, oh yeah, of course I should have done that, right? So yeah. And you know what? I
Well,
won't compete anymore without showing my images to three or four people who's
mhm.
who I admire their work because they'll pick out things that you didn't see. It's always really good to do that, even for camera club stuff, you know. If you're not unsure, show it to somebody in the club, see what they say.
Well, thank you very much, Kayla and Alan. That really helped. Now we have another, in a month, we're gonna have another session.
Didn't Ed have did you do an edit, Ed?
I did, but it's nothing compared to yours.
I want to see it. No, don't
Well,
say
let's
that.
see it, Ed. Come on, let's see
Don't
it.
say that.
I'm sorry.
Everything has strengths. Everything.
Sure it does.
Let's see what we got.
Just don't sit back and be quiet. Yell at us, Ed.
I don't think it's his style.
No, he's quiet.
That was the original, right?
Yep.
I played around with it a little bit. Oh, this is the extreme. I took out the path, I lightened it up, and I got rid of those lights back there. But, I was trying to eliminate the noise, and I never managed to be able to do that properly. But I got the houses in and got rid of the path and those lights, and that's
I
it.
didn't see the houses. I love those little houses in
I
there.
didn't even see the houses there before. No. I like the way you made the sky pop.
Yeah.
So what I love about it is that those clouds in the sky lead you right to it. So I think that's brilliant. Like I pulled that out because I pulled the sky down so much.
The only thing I don't
Eye
like
right to it.
creates.
You did a pretty
Is
good
there a
job
way
with
to?
the grass too.
Well, yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much, Ed. Well, we've
You're
got about
welcome.
another.
It's really, really good.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
it.
I like it.
Well, if
Well, you got a couple
It's a
pictures.
different interpretation, which is good.
You got a couple of varieties there to look at, Connie. Hang them on your
Well,
wall.
it's funny because when I took it, it wasn't, like I said, I was just out there in the moment because the light was great. Stopped the car, had the camera with me, and away I went. And I didn't play with it, but I love that starburst and I love the sky and that
Mhm.
bright green under the star.
Hmm.
So now that I've seen what you've done with it and played with it, I'm inspired to go and play with it and see what I can come
Good.
up with.
And then we
Thank
want to
you.
see it, Connie. We want to see it.
Okay.
Okay. I'm challenging you back.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay, now.
And put it in Gemini and see what it says.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what? The only thing, having showed you guys that, I want to say something about AI. Don't trust it, right? I trusted it. I put it in Gemini because I'm having trouble sleeping, which is why I went in and did that thing with that other drug or whatever, or not drug, vitamin. And I bought some melatonin and I took 2 last night and I had the worst sleep because I overdid it. So I'm just using that as an example. Just AI. Don't always take it for, what it is.
Well, what I was going to say is that in 4 weeks, we're going to be back here again. I need suggestions for what we would like to do, what we would like to see, and I'm going to need a picture. So if somebody can send a picture to me, and then I'll get it out to everybody, and I'll get your name on the mailing list, Alan. But what kind of things would we like to do the next time? The reason, like I said, it wasn't that I put Kayla second here, but back when I talked to Darlene and Pat about doing presentations, another member of our Brandon Club is this Marlene, and I'd asked her if she would, come and do one, and she said yes. And then she got back to me and said she's got this cancer of the soft tissue of her back, and so that's why I got a hold of Kayla.
Can you unshare, Brian?
I'm trying
Pardon?
to unshare.
Oh, no, I can add.
Ed.
Oh, I can't find the
It's
unshare
at
button.
the bottom.
Sometimes it's at the top.
There, it's at the top.
There you go. Got it.
Right. There we are.
So what
I'll
would we
be
like
here
to
next
see? And
month. I'll be
who
without
wants to send
internet.
a picture? Who wants to send a picture for us to play with for the next month?
I can
Ed?
try.
Ed for picture? And what would we like to see? Would we like to see some compositing? In other words, how we take in Photoshop, how you can take 2 or 3 pictures and blend them in, so you overlay them, and then using blending modes to see what we can do.
Sure.
Who would you get for that? I wish I would be here. I'm not here for that.
I don't- Yeah, I'm not sure. That's the one that Marlene was going to do, but I will
Yeah.
see how she's feeling.
Who's good at that? Because
Uh,
there's a thing in Photoshop where you can actually do it, but I've never been able to do it very well.
Well, Darlene, who made a presentation a few sessions ago,
Yeah,
she's very good at it too. So she's still in Mexico, but I'll chat with her, see what she can do.
maybe she'll be back. Yeah.
Well, she did the last one from Mexico too, so
Okay, good. I watched it. It was very good. She's great. Her
Yeah.
Photoshop skills are amazing. Yeah.
anything else that anybody like? Now that's dealing with Photoshop and that's dealing with a picture, but what about some Lightroom stuff? What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if all the segments of that course that I signed up and paid for, I don't know if I can shoot that off to you guys or not.
Mm.
I'm
Mm.
going to see what
You have to
I'm
log
gonna-
into it?
Well, I don't know. No, I don't think so. After you download it, so I'll play with it and see if I can shoot it off to you and see if it works.
Ah, share.
So I'll just do the Lightroom. That's the portion I'm doing right now. I'm uh, some of my notes on that thing so far.
There's another meeting still in April. You go to till April, right? So I should be able to be at the April one.
Okay.
That's the last, is that
Well,
the
thank
last
you.
one, the April one?
Usually, yeah.
Usually.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. And if you got any suggestions or um, anything like that, because I'm learning on this thing here. I feel like I'm gonna swimming in a blank sea here sometimes because I don't know what I'm doing. But
Me too.
and I'm gonna stop the recording.